Greetings and welcome to a Friday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is October 4th. Trottled, how we doing?
Brendan, doing well. I'm sitting here watching Los Brewers or El Crew try to take down PJ's Mets. Yeah, hopefully.
You just met producer PJ. You're meeting him while he's in the throes of like a 0-0 tie in an elimination game. That's a tough scene. PJ, I want you on your eyes on the ball here, producing this with high quality. Tron, welcome to the show. You've been on this before, for sure.
I think
right?
I have. Yeah, I think I was on very early on. Yeah. Speaking of high quality, is your stream good? PJ, are you seeing this too?
What's wrong?
You're pixelated on our end, but you should be fine on the Riverside end.
Oh, I'm bad?
This is what happens. We put you in charge of the stream, and it's a little pixelated, but it's going to be fine.
I'm getting the full Shotgun Start experience here.
Is it that bad? My Wi-Fi at Comcast has been all over me, just jamming me. I think since I made From the Ball Frogs 5-part documentary, sponsored by Comcast Business. Maybe they're on top of me. But just let me know if it gets just untenable.
Brian Roberts heard you were going to have me on tonight.
Jammed you immediately.
Yeah.
I swear you've been on, but I don't think I've done podcasts with a bunch of NLE. I don't think we've ever podcasted together. We go back a ways now. Many off the record texts and chats and phone calls and sessions, we're gathered around the table. But I don't think we've ever podcasted together, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah, first time, long time, I guess.
Bucks Falcons are on tonight in addition to Mets. Where are you at with the Falcons? Is that your team? Are you like a Kirk Cousins guy? Seems kind of a tough guy to root for, but maybe not hate.
Yeah. Yeah, I got nothing against Cousins. I'm a big Penix guy. Big Michael Penix guy, I'll say. Yeah. He's, I like the draft pick. I don't know why they signed Cousins, but I'm not sold on the new offensive coordinator. Listen, I have like 10 teams. All right. I got the Jags. I got the Niners. I got the Falcons. I follow the Bengals pretty closely. So a lot going on. But, Falcons, Jags have the Falcons defensive coordinator from last year, Ryan Nielsen. And it's not good down here, Brendan. So
what's going on?
I'm supposed to go to the game on Sunday. It's bad. I think Doug hates Trevor. Seems like Trevor might be kind of an idiot, like just not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Okay.
And then Press Taylor, who's Zach Taylor's brother, is the offensive coordinator. He already got Doug fired once up in. So I feel like we could be witnessing like Carson Wentz 2.0. But
you got multiple.
Really,
Taylors
enough about me. Let's talk about Massage Boy.
Did you see? No, not yet. Did you see that Peterson press conference? We talked about it on Wednesday where he was dialed in on the President's Cup, and he's like analogizing the adrenaline of Scotty's iron with Trevor. Like that's why he can't find an open receiver because he has too much adrenaline.
Yeah, he was talking about the President's Cup. While he was taking a break from throwing his players under the bus. It was quite a performance. It's a disaster. There's rumors, Belichick might come in.
I think Belichick go to Jacksonville.
I think Belichick. First of all, they need to fire Trent Baalke. That's first and foremost.
Absolutely, starts there. Sure.
Sure. And I was texting with KVV and Randy and Poosh today, and I was saying, I'm not a big Vrabel guy, and I was saying like Vrabel should come in and reset the culture and just be a total hard ass and rebuild the offensive line, play defense, let Trevor kind of, just be a complimentary piece. But, Randy was saying that was a low point for me today, but I think we've still got about 3 or 4 more weeks until we get to the low point. Like they got 2 weeks in London coming up. They got all sorts of shenanigans.
God, Vrabel was in high school a little ahead of me from Walsh Jesuit, Northeast Ohio.
I didn't realize he was a Cleveland guy.
Cleveland, that's more Akron. I don't know. Akron, it's kind of like South, but yes, many stories, as you can imagine, about Vrabel coming up. He's, what you call in the trade a meathead, as you might
kind of
expect.
A cartoon character.
Yeah, a great animal, clearly, as an 18-year-old, but maybe a good coach, maybe okay. I don't know, culture setter. If nothing else. Massage Boy's in town this week. He's in DC. against my local Commanders, who I might claim as my team. No, that just might be my team if I can get off the Browns.
Jaden Daniels shows up 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and all of a sudden you're jumping on the bandwagon.
People are so fired up around here. The most bought jersey allegedly on Fanatics, according to Michael Rubin, the little guy, that little, the white party host, can't throw the ball. According to him, Jaden Daniels is the most bought jersey. But yeah, they're in town. They're in town this week. So as is BC's at UVA. So the odd mutt fan that I am has 2 local teams. They're playing local.
How's your guy B.O.B. doing?
I mean, he's incredible. He's exactly what we need. Just an Irish last name, can win 8 games, top out at 9, maybe.
Maybe go to the Music City Bowl every 3 years.
It would be amazing. Maybe a Champs Sports Bowl or whatever they're calling that one now in Central Florida. So I was really mad about the music they were playing during warm-ups. He's like pissed it wasn't football music. Like there was a violin and he was shouting about it. So like he's just taking over total control. He wants the aux chord.
Like gangster rap? Or
I don't know.
Metallica? Or?
I imagine Metallica, Thunderstruck, something of that nature. But he's shouting about the music and he's taking over apparently. So that he's running that kind of regime.
Who was the guy you guys had before? Coach Spaz?
Hafley.
Yeah, that's right. Hafley went to the Packers to be like their quality control coach, right?
He's D coordinator.
Oh, okay.
They got lit up by Darnold. They had 28 points in 10 minutes last week. Just got lit up, the Pack. What's the state of Miami University football? I really, as an Ohio guy, I want to know. Yeah, I know you got the coach. I love chirping Alabama. I love that at the start of the year.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's tough to be a MAC team now in this current era. But
unless you're NIU, Andy's MAC team. But no, I think I was talking to Randy about it earlier this week. Chuck Martin, I think he's on year 10 or year 11. He just got extended this offseason. He might be there forever, and I don't think even he wants to be there forever. I think he viewed this as a stepping stone job. He just sweats Notre Dame. All he wants to do is just talk about Notre Dame.
Right.
And so it's just bleak. We're running a high school offense. It makes the offense that Jim Tressel was running back in, 2000, 2001, 2002 look like, a Mike McDaniel, spread, just brilliant thing. So it's Blaine Gabbert's little brother's the quarterback.
Oh, interesting.
It seems like he's been the quarterback for 3 or 4 years now. There's nothing to play for, right? I just wish we would drop down to FCS.
Oh, really?
And dude, yeah. I was reading about that Super League thing.
Yeah.
Your guy Jimmy Haslam,
Jailbird Jimmy Haslam,
Gordon Gee,
yep,
among other folks, is trying to put together. And I would be fine with, all right, let's get the top 60, 70 teams or whatever. Have them do their own thing, and then everybody else just drops down to FCS, and then there's a national championship to play for. Because there's a lot more in common with Miami of Ohio and South Dakota State than there is with Miami and Alabama.
Right. It's just not 1990 anymore. It's Ohio has 8 Division I programs, the 6 MAC schools, Cincinnati, Ohio State. It's kind of, and I'm not saying everybody from Ohio, I don't know, not that many people live there anymore. It's just, fled to the Sun Belt. It's just, it's hard. I love my MAC schools. I love Miami, especially, obviously. But so I had to get the temperature, Miami.
Yeah. And really the hockey program is just a complete disgrace. That used to be our big calling card. Actually, your BC team beat Miami, one of the all-time kind of pants shittings of all time.
Heartbreaker for you guys. I remember that. I was with some Miami friends as that was happening, and I felt bad.
Yeah, Miami hockey ever since then has just been a not even a long, slow decline, like a rapid decline, and it's just been in the basement since then. Yeah.
It should be a hockey school.
Hockey school, baseball, or the basketball team should be better. Which I guess we got the guy from Xavier, Randy was telling me, and he's buying also his wife's really rich. Helping him buy all sorts of recruits, which is great.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So
I love this. Love that. You mentioned that this student or the college football league these guys are proposing. It's like feels like we're in early stage like PGL territory right now with like anybody, some more organized than others, some with more money than others. Is this an opportunity for Andrew Waterman to maybe come over the top and just set up his own regime, set up his entire new league in college football? That's what it feels like right now. Anybody with money, a title, is just showing how they can fix college football, and they get a Wall Street Journal article about it.
It's great. Yeah, Wall Street Journal, SBJ, Sportico, Front Row Sports, all the, everybody's lining up.
Aggregation station.
Yeah. No, I feel like Florida State's probably going to be the ones first to jump there. You got that
private equity.
That guy, Charlie Weatherford, the old quarterback there.
Drew Weatherford, Charlie.
Drew Weatherford.
Yes,
yes. Trying to, bring in private equity and run that whole playbook in a public, state institution. What a bizarre program that is. But yeah, I feel like, it's ripe for, corruption and just
Disruptor.
all sorts of just all sorts of backroom dealings and stuff.
Yep.
So
the front room dealings ongoing this week are at the Dunhill, out in the open. I don't know if there's dealing going on, but Yasir and Jay played today. People are making fun of Jay's attire. Apparently it was bundled up. I'm getting texts from Scots who, probably have a high standard for what's cold and what deserves the rain pants. They were making fun of him. Like even Yasir from the Middle East is in short sleeves and Jay is bundled up in like rain pants, a sweater. But the coverage this got is sort of mind blowing. I saw Michael McEwen from Bunkered went hole by hole for their like game within the game, their match. They're all square now. Like
that was including the partners, right? That was including their like Billy and Dean.
Yes, best team score count. Okay, so Billy Boy, it's not necessarily all like Yasir apparently threw up on himself, but it might not be Yasir. It might be Mean Dean Burmeister that kind of gagged it coming in.
And they played Carnoustie.
Yes, today, I believe they were on Carnoustie. They were, and Jay, quote unquote, Jay himself won the last like 3 or 4 holes to win 3-1. But a lot of this is getting aggregated. This match between Jay and Yasir. What do you make of this? Them putting them together at the Dunhill. You're a Dunhill fan. You've been to the Dunhill.
Big Dunhill fan. I think it's I think they were probably both willing parties in this tie up. I think there's probably something to the Jay wanting to keep everybody close to the vest or close in, as far as there's been a lot of rumblings the last few months about the DP World Tour. Should they partner up with PIF and tell the PGA Tour to kick rocks?
Yeah.
I know Johan Rupert, who runs Dunhill, is kind of trying to put his finger on the scale and say, hey, everybody needs to get back together. And then, I don't know. I think Jay's, it's interesting because I think Jay likes to think of himself as kind of a jock too, right? So he's like, hockey Jay. So we're going to get out on the golf course. We're going to do this. He's got the rain pants on today. Yasir's got 15 different shades of green on.
I saw that. Not monochromatic. It was just different, slightly different.
The joggers. He's been rocking a bunch of G4 stuff this week.
Sure.
Maybe he needs to, call up the queer eye for the straight guy kind of stuff. I don't know if that's welcome over in Saudi Arabia, but no, it's a really I'll be really curious because I know Peter Dawson's there as well.
Yeah.
You got Qualtrics Ryan in the field. He's playing with Gooch.
Ari Emanuel.
You got Ari Emanuel. You got Bloomberg. Just all sorts of a lot of billionaires. A lot of kind of BSDs. So we'll see. It's a really pretty laid back environment.
Yes.
But it definitely feels like there's I just don't know why Rory needs to open his mouth this week. And
he did
and say, hey, by the end of the week or
end of the year,
this thing's going to be done and dusted. Like, just don't say anything at this point, man. Don't create false hope. Don't create expectations.
It got aggregated with like everybody. Rory's enthusiastic. He's upbeat. He thinks it's going to happen. And, I think we'll have a real good idea by the end of the year. I think was his quote. It was like, it's good to have everybody together in the same spot to move the game forward, yada, yada, yada. But yes, he did say that end of the year quote. And that was the one that got picked up.
And then he said, "Hey, I'm not going to do media today." I think that was with BBC Northern Ireland. And then
yes, it was
somebody, I think the Times of Ireland picked it up and then said he's not going to do media yesterday, but he was going to do media today. And of course he is, because nobody's going to go up to Carnoustie to go interview him.
Off the beaten path. You're kind of out of view. Darren Fitchert is our leader. That matters.
Fitchert or Fickert?
Fickert, whatever. I mean, pronunciation's not our strong suit, but he is. I think he went at Kingsbarns. I want to say 11 under. He's just a guy. He's 49 years old. I think he's 500.
I think he was at the old.
Okay. Oh, he was.
He shot 60. Yeah, I was gonna say nobody's shooting 61 at Kingsbarns.
Yeah, that's right. That makes sense. Old would make a lot more sense. He's 11 under. So there's a bunch of low scores. I think Rory was 3 or 4 under, which puts him in like the 90th. So everybody's going under, except
for Hudson Swafford.
Your boy. Still waiting. He's still waiting in the car down from TPC Southwinds. He's just never returned as a competitive golfer from that moment.
Oh, yeah. And he did it, I think he did it at Carnoustie. So maybe a little bit of credit warranted there.
Tougher conditions. Yeah.
But yeah, I saw him actually out at LIV Chicago a few weeks ago when I went out there, and he had to wear the wild card uniform. So he's got like the,
what is that?
Like it's like a joker on the hat.
Oh my
and then
God.
He's got like the cards with the, like the 4 jokers or the, on the sleeve, and just a LIV kind of branded polo, just white. It was like him and
AK, right?
Yeah, AK, him and AK, I think.
Yeah,
because Catlin had been called into service.
Yes.
So
that's incredible. It's bad. I mean, he goes and plays. I don't want to say he's been horrible on LIV. Like, whether you think that's real golf or not, he's been bad there. But he immediately plays, quote unquote, a tournament with OWGR, real tournament golf, and he's immediately DFL.
And he's playing with Scott Mahoney, his Peter Millar benefactor. So, which I'd be curious to know how HUD even got in the field for this thing.
It's an interesting mix of both. I think there's 14 or 15. I think it's Rupert probably just says this is how it's going to be.
Yeah, but there's plenty of other LIV guys I would like
to pick.
He's not even on a team.
That's fair.
Let's get Blandy in.
One of the LIV guys there is the poet, Patrick Reed. I don't know if you saw this week. He's mad about the majors. He's, we want to play. But in doing so, I think it was an interview with Bunker, I believe. Quoted, did you see who he quoted?
It was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Close. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "To be great is to be misunderstood," Reed said. And I often think I am greatly misunderstood. I've always heard that someone else's opinion of me is none of my business. I like to keep things light because life is too short to let anyone rob you of your own happiness. When I think of keeping things light, I think of the Reed family. That's what I think of. I think of Ralph Waldo Emerson. I think of Patrick Reed. Who do you think served him up that Ralph Waldo Emerson quote? Is that
maybe the mother-in-law? She seems like kind of a philosophical type.
That's incredible. Even for Patrick Reed, detached from reality on many factors.
I don't know where I got the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle thing. We need to get Lady J as his partner. Get them playing together in the Dunhill.
She should play in the Dunhill.
Well, yeah, we got other family members playing together,
true.
Right?
That is true.
They could play with Matt Fitzpatrick and his mom.
and Hatton, Gerald Hatton, whose dad has like the most. For a kid named Tyrrell, his dad's just like Jeff or Joe or something like that. It's just a very basic non-English name that I was not expecting. Hey, you mentioned Fitzy. I want to get to Fitz's comments too while we're doing quote roulette here from the Dunhill. He popped off. He seems, honestly, the guy still thinks, it seems like he's still filling his diaper about the cracked driver ruling at BMW. And he goes, I think the tour he's talking about the DP World Tour. I think the DP World Tour should have gone with the PGA Tour. He said, I don't think, sorry, I'm misreading. I don't think the DP World Tour should have gone with the PGA Tour. I was pretty livid, to be honest, at Wentworth when I found out that there was a handful of PGA Tour players coming to play Wentworth. And at that point in time, not every person who kept their card last year got in the field, which I think is a disgrace. I love him using the big term, hard-hitting terms. That's our flagship event. There's no invites given to European Tour players at the Players' Championship. So why are we dishing them out for Wentworth? So now I sit here as mainly as a PGA Tour player nowadays, which people probably say, well, you don't come back and play anyway. Yeah, I understand that. But I think the way of looking at it is there's not really been left with any option. If you want to achieve the things that you want to achieve in this game, you've got to play against the best players. You have to play where the best world ranking points are. And unfortunately with that, the money follows that. So he is out there saying it's been a mistake that the DP World Tour, should have gone up. I don't know that he openly said they should have gone with LIV, but just they shouldn't have gotten into bed with the PGA Tour. That feels like he's still mad about the driver thing. Now, I can understand that point of view, but Fitz then to blame, like, it's that meme from the show. We're all trying to find the guys who did this.
Yeah.
Like, you are a European Tour player and you live in Florida and you haven't played at all on the European Tour.
Yeah, I think it'd be one thing if Big Shot Bob said that, who kind of puts his money where his mouth is and has tried the Florida thing but hates it and has either going to or has already moved back. But it kind of goes part and parcel with what Billy was saying too about, I think he was giving an interview this week. I think he was referencing an interview from a year or two ago where he was saying he was lobbying Jay to get European Tour guys and LIV guys in the field for the players, which I thought was interesting, which is kind of, he's like, I truly believe the Players is the fifth major, doing all the talking points, covering all his bases, but then, kind of stepping out and saying, hey, I think this is, this is our product and we want it to be the strongest possible product. It was an interesting thing. But yeah, I think Fitz, it was really interesting with Fitz. Neil and I were out that morning with Stephen Cox riding around the golf course.
Oh, really? Okay.
Up, and we're in the cart with him when this whole ruling's crackling over the radio. Yeah. And he's like, he's kind of listening along like, just keeping tabs on it or whatever. And I said to Cox, I'm like, hey, we'll step aside. So go handle this.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then Fitzy was popping off a little bit about somebody's driver head or club head flew off last week or a couple weeks ago.
And Rory's
like, is that damaged enough?
At Wentworth. Yes. Yeah. He's still going on about it. This was like a month ago, and whatever, just he hit his 3-wood for the next 6 holes or whatever it was that was left. I just he's a pretty big golf dork, right? Like his entire life is golf, right? And it just seems like he's too in the weeds here. He's had a bad year. He's going, I think they're like the European Tour players who talk about the demise of their tour kind of don't accept their own role. And I'm not saying their role was unreasonable. Like Fitz said, they went where the money is and the points are and all this stuff. But you have a choice still, kind of, or I think some acknowledgement of the migration of those players, and it's not all the modern ones. It started in, probably 2013 and real heavy duty, and had started, to trickle well before that. But they all live in Florida, and to blame, and I've be the last person to sort of defend the worker bees at the global home, the bureaucrats. It sort of feels like they're just blaming the bureaucrats of the PGA Tour for when
they signed up for these deals, and they're Pelly and
right.
I like the just another guy Kinnings. That was a great moniker. No, all that stuff. I think that's totally fair to lay that at the feet, because also it's like, all right, you want to cut off, all right, this is your flagship event. You want to cut off the legs from under it so that guys like Billy can't come over and play in it, who's gone out of his way to support the DP World Tour. Like, I don't think that's right either.
Who do you think he's thinking? Maybe he's thinking Pepe Peter Malnati with this. There were a few others, like Jimmy Walker's been over there feasting on the Euro
Jimmy
Tour.
Walker 3 or 4 weeks in a row, right? Went down to Madrid last week. Big tax.
Cleaning up over there. Probably uncomfortable as hell, just looking for, grilled cheese and you can't get it.
Yeah. But I think of all the things, I would say, like, having the top 10 guys just cherry picked straight off the DP World Tour standings is such a bad look. Like, the fact that they ever agreed to that, of just being subjugated in that way, is crazy.
It codifies you as like a feeder tour, right? It's not just like an average, like it is a full blown admission. And I remember at Troon, they were just like asking all these guys, like, I mean, dyed in the wool European Tour players, like, Thurston and Manacero and all that. They're like, yeah, that's the carrot. That's what I'm playing for, is that full PGA Tour card. It's kind of real. It's the one that's really throws it out of whack in terms of power.
Which, going back to the whole, I mean, I've probably enjoyed watching golf more the last month than I have all year, just because we're all county down, and Wentworth was awesome, and last week in Madrid was awesome, and Dunhill was great this morning, all of those. And it's like, it's a really, really lo-fi but golf rich broadcast.
Yep.
And it's a good look at fun golf courses and that we don't get to see often and all of that. And I'm thinking, man, why not talk to Piff and, own your side of the Ryder Cup and really own the fall? Because they're not going up against football with these either, right? It's a morning, it's a complimentary thing.
Yeah.
So lean into that more. I think we got the French Open coming up as well. And then obviously you got the Middle Eastern stuff, which you can kind of take that or leave that,
I mean, it's fine. Usually has like a pretty good field, in the Middle East, and you're done early enough. So earlier. Where do you think this shakes out? We don't need to do an hour on this with Yasir-Jay. The whole, do you feel like we're close? I know we talk about this a lot.
I think we're close to something. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, and it'll probably be half-assed and ham-fisted and
sure.
We're close to something. I don't know if it's something good, right?
Okay.
It could just be, an extension of the signature events. Maybe they move 3 or 4 of those around the world and do those, more often. But from what I've heard, the Fenway Sports people who have poked around at the global home have been somewhat appalled by what they've seen, as far as like just it sounds like it's kind of both costs and just the way of doing business, and how behind the times and just really, really myopic this organization is, and just kind of almost run like a 1970s Jacksonville Ponte Vedra company instead of a multi-billion-dollar global entity.
Yeah.
And I think that and there's probably gonna be some bad things come out of it too. Like, I think what they're gonna try to do is roll everything up to championship management. You've already seen it with Quail Hollow, with Honda or whatever, Cognizant, whatever they're calling that
Cognizant,
now. They're gonna they're capping the charitable contributions.
Cool.
Yeah. And then they'll find efficiencies across vendors for each tournament and all of that, because they're controlling more of them and can kind of, but it's just crazy that, like, every time we hear about, like for instance, this week, I tried to watch the Sanderson today, right?
Yeah.
And I made it maybe 25 minutes, and they're trying all these new features on the broadcast.
Interviews and
I felt like I was watching, I felt like Sands was hosting, he was like emceeing a dinner, like a pro-am dinner mixed with like an infomercial. And it's just, and he got Todd Lewis running around all over God's creation down there, just interviewing guys left and right. Like, when we're not learning anything, it's just interviews.
Todd
Lewis
not get the week off too, by the way? It's just NBC riding all their people. Like, whatever you think of Todd Lewis, he's at the President's Cup. He's got to be in Jackson for this.
Right. And it's just, there's just no new thinking, no new blood. You got Sam Flood just throwing all this existing stuff at the wall. Jay and his big thing, in Atlanta a couple months ago or last month, talking about, how Fridays are the lifeblood of the PGA
I
Tour.
saw that.
And, cuts are just, they kind of represent everything that the PGA Tour is about. And, they're going to quote, pull that story forward. All the while doing the, signature events with no cuts.
No cuts.
It's just, all of it just feels so cobbled together. And I just don't understand why he's the guy that gets to dictate and decide how it looks here in the future.
You think he will?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like every time you hear like that Brian Rolap guy from NFL Media that was being rumored, or various people from NBA, like it just seems like there's all sorts of rumors, and the guy, and Jay's just a cockroach. He just kind of keeps him and Tyler the Creator. They're just unimpeachable, man.
Two first name Tyler Dennis. I heard unsubstantiated rumor Friday. I heard, just while you're on the subject of SSG puck, I think it was Jay told John Henry, claimed that the organization was lean, not bloated. Like, all right. Well, we're gonna see about that. I mean, it's not like you can't just. I think there can be some double check or corroboration of that statement. But
I think they've got some real human beings that are poking around that kind of know their stuff. There's this lady who used to work for the Red Sox. He's like, oh man, like this is pretty jarring.
I heard
some of this stuff.
I think I heard she was at Wyndham asking around about, what do you do? What's this job? What's your function? I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's what I had heard.
And then I think on the flip side too, hearing a lot about, there were all sorts of rumors floating around about PGA of America, offloading PGA Championship and/or Ryder Cup.
Yep,
those have kind of ceased. And did I send you the campaign page of the guy that's running for PGA of America secretary down in Alabama?
You did not, but I am eager to now see it.
I can't.
You have to make like you're running for class president, like my kid in school. You have to make like campaign materials in a website.
So sick. Eric Eshelman, e24pga.com. I'll text it to you right now. Okay. It's unbelievable. He's got all sorts of campaign materials and testimonials and letters of support and all this stuff. But
it looks like a real campaign page, right? Got like red, white, and blue, like font and iconography.
I guess there's a groundswell amongst small but vocal portion of the membership that's basically saying, hey, we need to take back over after Wall leaves. Like we need no more businessmen, no more strategists in here. This needs to be run by PGA professionals,
members.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm kind of worried about. Like the Watt thing was abrupt. I don't want to go all over the place here, but that was abrupt. I think kind of unexpected. I don't know if that's the term for it, but it was abrupt. Yeah. I'm a little worried about where it's going and what the future is. And then
you think about the tour can just flex on them and say, cool, we're not going to give conflicting release. Like we're not going to sanction the Ryder Cup anymore.
Right.
But I don't think the tour, just like I don't think they have the credibility right now to play like hardball with the majors.
Yeah.
Now granted, I think the majors have had to kind of take a back seat or quit poking their head out a little bit just because of the Department of Justice's wage fixing or purse fixing
collusion
investigation.
Yes.
So a lot of strategy and drama.
Got to mind your P's and Q's on that one. Make it a phone call. Don't put it in writing. A lot of that stuff going on. Speaking of PGA America slots, catnip of the day. I was all fired up to do this on Wednesday. I was like, I'll just talk about it on Friday. Nobody's going to notice. Did you see the section pro at Sanderson? The PGA section pro?
Like the old guy?
71-year-old Reed Hughes. I like that PGA Tour comms just like, all right, this is an opportunity to like make it, people are into this. I'm going to tweet about it. They tweeted it's the oldest player since Gary Player at the 2009 Masters. And they're getting in. The guy's playing well. He shoots 35 on the front, which, whatever, isn't good at Country Club of Jackson, but it's fine. And he immediately makes an 8. As soon as PGA Tour comms gets on the bandwagon, he makes an 8. As soon as they tweet it out, he's second at DFL behind Sam Ryder. He beat the commercial man, the advertisement darling Sam Ryder. But I think that's it. It's kind of incredible. The guy so he won the Gulf States PGA by like 4. And I was looking at it last year. He's 71 years old, like 6 years older than Russ Cochran. He beat 37 guys in this event. It was 37-man field. Wins by 4. He's 71. And you're just, I don't know what that says about the tour. I saw as soon as Cobbs tweeted it, first reply was, "You are an unserious organization."
Which I think for once I wanted to stick up for the tour a little bit, because they do give these sections different exemptions, or hey, you can do as you see fit if you want to give it to your overall section champion or whoever won I would point it right back at the section.
Yeah.
Like how weak is your section? How are there only 37 guys in the field there?
It's a bizarre. The guy though, I was started getting the weeds, check the crosstabs, the numbers. They're not bad. He had a 301 yard drive.
Getting in the reeds.
Reed Hughes, father of Larry Hughes, he had a 301 yard drive. Like, he's not hitting it. You see some of these older PGA pros get into the PGA Championship that make it like, who was the guy at Harding Park who was like, couldn't clear the forced carry at like 17. He was just hitting it like 235. He hit it 301 in one hole. It was like pretty firmly in like 275 to 285. So I was worried about that. They showed him on the range. I was like, he was just, I mean, he's 71. It didn't look like it was going more than 215, but it looks like he's moving it. So
he's got a good move.
Yeah.
Just like really, he made 4 birdies.
Yes.
He had one bad swing on 11, it looks like, and then doubled 13 as well. Kind of got into a little spot of bother left of 13 or 3. But
your leader's David Skins. He shot a 12 under 60.
He missed like a 12-footer or 59
to break.
David Skins. He's just a better athlete, right?
So that's where we're at. I mean, this is the fall in the PGA Tour. David Skins shooting 12 under 60 to lead by 3. 71-year-olds playing in Jackson and easily shooting, under whatever it was, 75. I just don't know what to make of this anymore. I guess we get points.
I don't think there is anything to make of it. It's just like I almost feel like they're just trying to sunset it, right? There's more similar to this tournament and the tournament at Ohio State last week or a couple weeks ago on the Corn Ferry Tour than there is to this tournament and the FedEx St. Jude or really any of the top half of the PGA Tour. So, but it feels like they just have to play the string out on these, and but they're finally getting to the point where, hey, we're going to reduce playing opportunities,
reduce cards, reduce playing opportunities. I guess they're taking fields down because people need physical therapy, more physical therapy time.
Again, better athletes, right?
That's what they need. Let's bounce from Sanderson over to the KFT finals.
Please.
By the way, Reed Hughes is not Low Hughes. Mackenzie Hughes shot a 7 under 65. So that's the Low Hughes in the field.
Which he's got to be exhausted.
Why is he playing that? Just to get into Aeon 10 or something?
I guess. Yeah. Actually, does the Aeon? I guess that would get him into the next 2
non-century, non-Kapalua ones. So he'd be in like Pebble.
So what? Pebble and Riv.
I think Riviera. Yeah.
So because that's really the only difference between shooting or finishing in the top 50,
right,
versus in the top 70 is getting to play those 2,
right.
Or really finishing like I think 69th or 71st versus 125th. There's zero difference as far as starts next year.
No, there's nothing.
So
Guys who may or may not get a lot of starts at the Corn Ferry Tour Championship. This is finishing up at French Lick Resort. We're one round in. It's not worth talking about that much. But Thomas Rosenmuller is your leader, 67. Doc Redman's in the mix.
Carlos Ortiz's brother,
Alvaro. Yeah, he's one off the lead. Sam Bennett, who a lot of people are tracking because he's like 31 or whatever he is, shot a even par. So he's T24. Went 4 spots up. So I don't know.
Frankie Sappin playing well.
Yes.
Ryan Gerard. I feel like the guys who have had good years continuing to play well this week.
Right.
With the exception of like John Pock.
On the wrong side, Pot Guider is not a good start for the Pot Guider. You like this event. It's a little different though now with just 70 guys, essentially 74.
Yeah, I don't mind it. At lesser field, I think it kind of allows you to hone in on the guys. I think I watched a little bit of it today.
Yeah,
it's better at this course. I think Victoria National is probably too penal and too chopped up and tough to walk. The Dye course, I've never been there, French Lick, but it looks cool. It's always cool to see new courses on TV.
Something new.
Too.
Yeah. Asia Pacific Am overnight. Scores don't matter. The leader's Randy. Randy is winning in the Asia. You don't see that too often in the Asia Pacific Am. Randy at the top of leaderboard. Randy Bintang from Indonesia is your leader at 5 under. That is in Taheo. That course in Japan. First time Japan's hosted, I think in like 14 years, maybe since like Hideki won, I want to say. Not that later than that, but 2010, I think it's first time since Japan's hosted the Asia Pacific Am.
Brendan, I tried to watch the replay of this morning on the
ESPN Plus or something like that. Yeah.
I couldn't find it. And then I realized, I had some helpful people in the replies said, you got to go to golf and then go into replays, to on demand, not replays, which I guess replays and on demand are two different things in the ESPN Plus app. Yeah. Yeah. And then from there, because I guess it was on ESPN2 and not on ESPN Plus last night. Okay. So round 2 is starting here in next couple hours, and then it'll finish up. I think Friday, Saturday, it starts at like 11 p.m. Eastern,
Got it.
So you can watch that.
Yeah, it's a little live. More, kind of reasonable-ish on the weekend, but yes.
I saw too. There's a kid from Jordan who's 12 years old who's in the field, and there's a guy from Lebanon who's 66 years old.
66, yes, 66 and 12. The Asia Pacific Am. So that's good. Masters berth on the line. Champs Tour hasn't started yet. Are you going over that?
No, absolutely not. Solly was over there all day today and yesterday.
Why are you going to go over? No, you're not going to indulge that? Furyk and friends? You're no friend of that person?
I'm not. I don't really leave the island. We live on the island out here at the beach. I don't really leave the island when I'm home all that often, but it's clearly on the other side of town. I just don't have any interest in watching the olds. But I know you guys have been into it.
No,
with your plays.
You're taking the air out of PJ's balloon right now.
This is incredibly disheartening to me. I have to be honest.
Listen, I tried to in the past, and I've been to the Charles Schwab Championship out in Phoenix. I've been to the one in Newport. I've been to the one at the Mitsubishi Electric one.
Oh my God!
I've interviewed various Champions Tour players. It just doesn't need to exist at all. It's crazy. And everybody who works on that tour is like, oh, it's the best. It's so chill. I'm like, yeah, it's because everybody's worth $20 million already, and they're just hanging out with their buddies playing golf for more money.
Not a lot of people are watching. Like it's not some pressure cooker cauldron,
and it's preempting other better golf from being broadcast.
I don't know if that's true, because the times that this is broadcast it's not helpful.
Or other markets too. Like I've heard from various people at the PGA Tour that we cannot possibly have a PGA Tour event in Seattle because of the Boeing Classic.
Really?
Yes. It's like that's their market. They have that shit on lock.
That's actually hilarious.
You know, the only time I got in trouble, I did like a little Golf Channel morning drive stuff. I'd be on TV and like I have to walk some line. Whatever. You don't curse, The only time I got in trouble is I said Pacific Northwest needs a PGA Tour event. And someone from the tour called into the network pissed, said, "We have the Boeing Classic, asshole. Like, what do you need to?" He needs to like issue a correction on air because I'm sorry. Like, I thought about I was just thinking about the real PGA Tour. It escaped my mind that I didn't acknowledge that you have the Boeing Classic. That's the only time I ever got really reprimanded for saying something.
And you know what? I know who probably called you, and I saw him at Publix last night. I was picking up ingredients.
Called the station, called the producers. I don't think they called me. Said, "Hey, Brendan, you misspoke there. You need to." I was like, "All right, whatever."
Did you have to issue a correction?
I can't remember. I don't remember. I might have said something at the end of the show, like, "Oh, by the way, the Boeing Classic, senior circuit is in Seattle." So I guess I missed that one. Didn't cross my mind. All right, let's hit.
I'm sure I'll get some nasty gram about no, we just can't find the proper, venue. Sponsor or venue. Or, because Microsoft, Amazon, there's no big companies up there in that part of the world.
Nothing. No, not a sports town. News real quick. Hovland's out for the year, but we don't know with what. Just an injury of some sort. Did you see he didn't play the requisite amount? He only played the Scottish in the Olympics. But
I'm sure. You know what? I bet Fitz will be pissed that they gave him a medical hardship exemption.
That's what they said. Someone at Wentworth was just like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's just it's a health issue. It's fine." Completely just making it up on the fly, which they probably should. You can't knock out Hovland, but it's just sort of indicative of like, let's just make the rules up.
That's the whole thing that cracks me up about all this stuff. Is it's just whenever they want to be super serious of like, hey, these are the rules and regs. These are the rules and regs. We can't do anything about it. And then sometimes it's like, Webb Simpson, here's the 7th sponsor exemption of the year into these signature events, which is what, starts our currency. And this is the most important thing. Or, hey, you know what? Yeah, these two guys, they're getting in too. It's just so by the seat of their pants, and just lean into it, just call it like it is. We're making it up as we go.
Yeah. Did you see the rules and regs about how the agents now have to do like tests and pay fees? I mean, it's not a lot. It's like
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, though.
No.
It's what? It's $500. I think they get parking on site now too.
Yes.
Which guaranteed parking on site and meals, and it would possibly cut down on some of the bad actors too. So
there are. What do you mean by bad actors? Just
I don't know. I'm sure there's just some agents that don't necessarily. I mean, agents in all sports in all walks of life. I mean, NIL, right? I'm sure there's guys. There's some greasy guys walking around Chestnut Hill out there, and trying to hang outside BOB's locker room.
It exists everywhere. But I love that. They got to take a test, like an online test, and pay like $500 to be certified or something. I don't know. You get the right credential for the year. So it's making it more strict, I guess, to be an agent on tour, but not that strict. What else do we have? Nothing, ANGC damage. Allegedly, I don't have much to say. Fred Ridley did a little speech video on it. Said, we're focused on the community, going to help that out. I mean, it's obviously bad. Ripped through there. Not the club per se, but the whole area. My cousin who lives in the area it's not good. So
yeah, no, and got some friends in Aiken, and then up into Western North Carolina. It's tough scene.
Really bad. But
like that, there was an overhead picture of Lake Lure.
Yeah,
did you see that?
Yeah,
with all the trees and it's
like, really bad.
Just kind of blew my mind.
That was all flooding, but that Augusta Aiken strip was, I think, just the crazy wind, and I don't know. I'm sure. I mean, it's good. Augusta is a very well endowed partner that can help fix things quickly. Let's get to you want to do golf advice? Do you have any?
Sure.
Do you have any Friday unsubstantiated rumors you want to throw out there? Do you have anything you want to put out there? I feel like you've teased.
I feel like enough. that's my whole shtick. Right? I got more unsubstantiated rumors than you know what to do with.
Well, anything you don't want to save for your own platforms. No laying up. I don't think I even introduced you as Toronto No Lay. Like, not that you need an introduction to our audience, but I don't want anything, save anything for your own platform. But did you see?
I think that I mean, one that, like, going back to the Augusta stuff, I think they were building a bunch of stuff like that underground parking garage for players.
Yes.
I think that's in not a good place right now. Yeah. Okay. And then I know, like, they've lost like all the greens and stuff down around Rays Creek. I know, like, they've lost that in the past. Like in 1990, it got washed away. And I'm sure now, like, they rebuild like 3 greens a year anyway in normal circumstances. And I'm sure the CAD and laser stuff is better than it's ever been for them. So, but yeah, it sounds like between the trees that went down and then, the stuff along Rays Creek just kind of being totally washed away. Hopefully it's good over the next couple months.
I've got one unsubstantiated rumor. I heard this spring. I've just sort of kept it quiet. It's very unsubstantiated.
That's like Andy's. I knew Jay.
That was such bullshit. He's such like, what are you?
I knew that a week and a half ago.
Journalist. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. Although I do stand with him on the pumpkin patches.
I like that.
I think, like, you can't just move a bunch of pumpkins into where they didn't grow into an area that didn't grow them and then just call it a pumpkin patch. That's bullshit.
Put a brick of hay down or two and there you go.
Maybe serve some apple cider.
We got that all around here. Some bougie areas of one of your favorite parts.
Maybe a corn maze.
Not even. I was reading Shackelford's newsletter. He linked out to a cool article about Indian Creek.
Cool. I've got that pulled up for tonight, actually.
Have you heard the Indian Creek rumor? I mean, this is not
that Bezos is trying to buy it.
Yeah.
For what?
It's pretty widespread. It wasn't like a new one, but it's all out there. I heard it was like 7 million a member. What I heard, maybe. I don't know if that's enough, but
I feel like it's one of those things that would rip apart a membership that some of them just have the land or the house there and don't really have a bunch of family money, and then there's other and then there's the billionaires that would
wipe their ass with that kind of money. Yeah, just a good one. I don't know why. I remember hearing that this spring. I just decided to throw it out there because of the article jogged my memory. I was with somebody who played it down, who's intimate with there. He's like, no, that was overblown. It's not that big a deal. I was like, sure. So they're trying to put a lid on that. Here we are talking about it on the podcast. All right, let's get to golf advice. Throw a few out there. This is from Brendan. How can I overcome the sins of my younger years? You can send these to sgsgolfadvice@gmail.com. 28, 0 kids, no interest in fighting. I come to you in a time of desperation. I have played golf all my life, through high school, college, and now competitively as a mid-am. So good player. I carry anywhere from a +4 to a +2. I've not been able to achieve what I consider the pinnacle moment of golf, a hole-in-one. Now, I know what you and the listeners may be thinking, not another hole-in-one story about how someone came oh so close. No, this was something that's entirely my fault, and I will carry with me in perpetuity. Here's the story. I grew up in a family of college golfers. When I was about 10, 2 of my brothers and my sister all had a hole-in-one in a 2-year span. Me, being an impressionable 10-year-old, thought that getting a hole-in-one was, quote, the thing to do. I wish I could say that this next part of my story was unique or fun, but alas, it is not. I went out one day to my local course by myself in all bold and played 9 holes. Afterwards, I then lied to everyone I knew that I made a hole-in-one on the 8th hole, when in fact I did not. I do not even remember what I made or where my approach went. Over the course of the next 6 months, I received congratulatory handshakes, high fives, and even had a write-up in the monthly newsletter about my hole-in-one. I finally could not live with it anymore and decided to come clean and tell my family that I lied about the situation. They all responded in kind with, yeah, we know, not one of us believed you in the first place, which sounds sort of like, why wouldn't you push them on it a little bit more instead of now just after the fact saying, of course, we knew that. So I've repented and come clean. My hope was that by the golfing gods would seek pity on me and know that I was wrong. Since that day, I've seen her play with 9 separate individuals that have all made their first hole-in-one.
During that round?
No.
Did he play with him?
Yes, he's up close. 9 people. I mean, he plays as a mid-am. I guess he's probably playing with some good players.
Also, going back, how did he repent? Did he write a return letter to each person that wrote him a congratulatory note?
He was in the newspaper?
Did he take out a thing in the newsletter?
That's a fair question. Fair question. He played with 9 individuals who've all made their first hole-in-one. I've seen some as a spectator, but a majority as a competitor in their group. I feel like I'm Sisyphus, forced to watch others live out my dream, having a hole-in-one, all because I tricked and deceived the golf gods. I am in purgatory and I need your help. How do I escape this never-ending cycle, or am I forced to live like Sisyphus for the rest of my golf career? I actually don't know how we can help you here.
Does he do the Eric Anders Lang or the DP World Tour thing where you just you got to stand there hitting balls until you make a hole-in-one?
That's a real Sisyphus situation. You're just like laboring away. That's a pretty good suggestion.
And then once you get it, it would be pretty joyless, right?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of like,
and it's not over the course of a round, so it doesn't really count,
right,
for anything. So you get all this work and none of the benefit of it.
That may be sort of the middle ground purgatory you deserve for living 20 years of a lie, saying you made a hole-in-one and accepting all the plaudits that came with it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything you can do. You've repented, I guess, so to speak. But I think you just do the Eric Anders, whatever that is. I'm not familiar with Eric Anders Lang game, but just hitting a bunch from the same tee, the DP World Tour one. I like that. All right, next one. What do I have here?
I do want to hear more about the penance, though. What he did. Like, email back in. I'm curious to hear
what
you
would
did
suffice. What would suffice? What would you suggest?
I don't know, because I think anything that would suffice would really. I would want to know how. So he was how old?
10.
When he was 10. Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like you could probably. I don't think it would be disqualifying or that devastating to your credibility to do that. Does it say how old he was when he did his penance?
It was like 10 years later.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think if it was written up in the bulletin or in the newsletter, I think taking out something and like writing a letter to the whole membership after the fact, especially if he's a member at that club now.
Oh, wait, he repented within like a year, it sounds like. So it was 11-year-old.
So he was 11.
So,
okay.
Yes. So he did it quickly. He didn't live with the lie, but he accepted all the congratulations.
I don't know. I don't think there's a solution.
Yeah, I think you just have to live with your sin.
Yeah.
It's like, fortunately, it's not like a real, it's a venial sin, I think is what they would have told us in Catholic school. You didn't kill anybody. You're okay. You'll be all right.
It's like when Solly faked his hole-in-one at Brora on that par 4.
What did he do?
No, he had a hole-in-one at Brora. He had never had one on a par 3 before, and I think he was playing with 2 other guys, and he couldn't find the ball, and then went up and.
Is this a long time ago?
Yeah,
when he was living over there.
2017.
Yeah. I thought that was a Royal Dornick for some reason, but
it's like 20 minutes up the road from Dornick.
Okay,
yeah.
I remember that.
What's that story from Maidstone? You've heard that one, right?
It's not ringing a bell.
2 guys are playing in the club championship or the club match play, and I think they're out on. I've never played Maidstone. They're out on one of the famous par 3 holes out towards the water.
Yep.
And guy can't find his ball, and I guess he dropped one in the hole, drops one over like in the rough near one of the dunes or whatever. Says, "Hey, I got my ball." And,
oh no!
And the guy he's playing with says, "Well, then what's this one in the hole?" And just walks right in, goes straight to the clubhouse.
Oh my God.
Guy comes in. I think they like escorted him off the property. We're like, hey, like never, like your membership's canceled. Never come back here ever again. He's blackballed like from everywhere now.
That's a good story.
Sick.
Don't cheat. You're not playing for much. Just don't cheat. All right. A couple more. No, not golf advice. This feels like ripe for your kind of assessment. Happy Friday Eve. This is yesterday, I guess. I work in a large corporate office where we've recently been blessed with fancy sit-stand desks and ergonomic chairs, the kind that scream, quote, "We care about your well-being," while quietly ignoring everything else. There are also several, quote, synergy spaces equipped with tall chairs for, I assume, height-enhanced collaboration. I don't know what that even means. Tall chairs. A month ago, I noticed one of these tall chairs had gone missing. I found it a few days later in a nearby cubicle where a middle-aged woman had claimed it for herself. Her ergonomic chair that had been unceremoniously abandoned. She now sits in a tall chair at her standing desk, perched above everyone else like some sort of workplace overlord in one of the busiest parts of the building. I feel like it's my duty to confront this woman. I love that. Feel duty bound. I don't know her personally. Any suggestions on how to broach this topic with her? Anything I should be on the lookout for? I don't know what you should look out for, but how do you confront this woman? It's grinding his gears. He took one from the synergy space, the tall chair, and now sits at the standing desk height.
So these are sit-stand desks.
Yes.
Okay. Which I got a bone to pick. I have one of the IKEA ones. It broke.
Yeah,
I was moving my office around.
They're junk.
Thing broke, so now it's just a sit desk.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of respect that lady. That's a complete alpha power move. I would ask how many people are using this common collaborative space.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe we should ask the folks down at the global home how they would handle this. They have plenty, I'm sure there's all sorts of chairs in those conference rooms.
I haven't worked in an office in some time now, but yes, that would be. We need to lean on somebody. If it's really bothering you, you should go up to her and be like, "Why can't you be like everyone else?" It feels like you think you're better than people by trying to look over this whole busy area of the building and just. Like, either sit or don't. Sit at proper sitting height, but don't jack your desk up to standing height and then also claim a chair. It's one or the other. Like, who do you think you are?
Totally. It kind of reminds me, my mom worked for Athena Health. They're like a healthcare technology company for a long time. And they moved into this swanky ass office down in Midtown Atlanta at Ponce City Market.
Yeah.
And they had like the open floor plan.
Yeah.
And it drove her nuts. She's just like, these fucking open floor plans, man. I just can't. Like, I hear everybody's conversation. I hear their phone calls. I hear people steal my chair all the time.
Yeah.
People, when I have a meeting over at their desk. So that would be my question too, is, are these individual offices, or is this kind of
it seems cubicle
style
open
deal?
Yeah, it seems like it's an open deal. I think
feel
if it's bothering you.
Yeah, I feel like either you confront her or you start doing stuff with the chair.
Are we talking like Pinehurst Grandstand style, loosen the screw?
No. I would never recommend that. Never recommend
Sabotage that. Okay.
No. I would just move the chair back.
Okay.
Or go buy a really, really cheap stool or something like that.
I like that.
I feel like you could have some fun with it.
You could. All right. Next one from William. New dad dilemma. Jammed by daycare. Good morning. I'm 32, one kid, not interested in fighting, don't want to hear about any hole-in-one stories. This morning, I've done the last couple Fridays. I was getting ready to play a round of golf at one of Brendan's former stomping grounds, Manakiki. Nice little public course, east side of Cleveland. Before that round, as I do every morning, I took my daughter to daycare. She was in a great mood and ready for a great day, just like me. I ended up getting paired with two older gentlemen who were fantastic to play with, a couple blue-collar Clevelanders. There's no other kind. It ended up being very relaxing, and that might be why I was playing out of my mind. Playing for the black tees, I was having the front nine of my life at Manakiki. I finished in 39. Typically, I'm 42 to 44 after 9. I have a unique history of going low on the back 9. So I was thinking breaking 80 today was in the cards. As I make my way over the road to the 10th tee box, I get a text from my wife, who's a teacher at another one of Brendan's former stop. Oh, my grade school. She says, "Have you gotten a call from daycare?" I go, "No, I didn't. What happened?" At this point, I'm thinking maybe it was a wrong number and a butt dial. My wife then texts back, "Our daughter has diarrhea and they asked for her to be picked up immediately." What do you guys do? Would you continue the round and get her after the round, knowing there's a chance you could get a career low round? Or are you making the decision, like I did, to go and get the rain check to pick up my daughter? Is diarrhea like a pick up this kid up right now deal at daycare now?
What's the wife doing? She's at
It
work?
seems like she's a teacher at.
Oh, she's a teacher.
Yes,
okay, that's right.
So like you're kind of
at the middle at the grade school. Yeah,
but not the same one where the daughter is. So she's not next in the building.
I'm assuming no family around.
Doesn't seem like it. Seems like you either keep playing, pick her up in 2 hours.
Pace of play sounds like it's good.
Pace of play sounds like it's good. Pace of play of the stool sounds like it is quick too.
I think it's not going to get any worse, right?
I mean, it sounds like the text seems pretty to the point. They've asked for her to be picked up immediately.
But there's no request there. It's just they've asked for her to be picked up immediately. Your wife's not asking for her to be picked up immediately.
That's fair.
Kind of passive aggressive, open ended.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. You have kids. I mean, I'm sure you've had to peel off for.
Oh, dude, I was up at
your plans to do something.
I was up at the Augusta National Women's Am, and then I was going to hang around for a couple days.
We were going to hang.
Yeah, and I get back to the media center at probably 2/3 of the way through the round. And I had like 9 missed calls, and my wife never bugs me on the road.
Yeah,
my mom was there, and like watching the kids, and Gustav was playing. Our younger one was playing tackle football during one of our older one's flag football games and broke his collarbone. And I was like, shit, like, all right, do I play this out and just
cover the
hang out for the next 6 hours at least, and then head home tonight? Do I go home in the morning? And since it was my mom watching them, my parents, I was like, all right, I'll drive the 4 or 5 hours home.
Yeah.
And get right home. But it was one of those things of like, man, like I have a total get out of jail free card, not being able to have my, like, I could just tell her I can't have my phone in the media center either.
Right. Right.
So,
that happened to me at LA last year with the US Open. I left because my daughter got appendicitis. Only I waited like a day or two to see if it was like bad or what the deal was. So, and then I decided to red eye like Wednesday night, and my wife, like, I didn't get credit at all, and maybe shouldn't have, but I laughed on a red eye.
That's the worst of both worlds. Where like you went and did it. It's almost do it immediately or don't do it at all. Because anything in the middle, like you're probably going to get in trouble for.
Yeah, not good. This guy just left. He abandoned his career round, went home, went to the school. So the daughter was very happy to see him. I think you got to go. You're just playing golf.
Yeah, and I think the opposite of our hole-in-one, or fake hole-in-one guy earlier, I think this is going to only result in good karma and good things in the future.
Yeah, you're putting in the time. It's good. Plus, if it went bad on the back 9, you would have just been doubly, which it probably would have. Let's be honest.
He probably wasn't going to play well because he's going to be stressed and thinking about it. I never play well when I'm thinking about something.
All right, we're going to do one more really fast. Is that all right with you?
Yeah,
quick one?
Absolutely.
Because this is meant for you. Good Poulter story. This is less about need for advice, although I do inquire about what we should have done at the end, but more of a good Poulter story. In the vein of the fellow who won the contest from the tour and got dinged with the prizes. You remember the PGA? Some guy won a PGA Tour contest and ended up writing off, it cost him a couple $100 or thousands of dollars, right? He had to go to Deere. He got a tee time at TPC course, right?
Yeah, you got to play at any TPC course. So he brought all of his friends out to Deer Run, and when he showed up, they had no record of his reservation, and he just had to eat it for like $800.
Wow.
Because we were talking about it after, what was the fantasy prize this year for the whole like $300 gift card?
It was a $300 PGA Tour Superstore gift card. Yes,
For like this, 1 in 4 million.
Season long deal.
Yes.
God, that infuriated me, man.
It's like the person who picks the perfect NCAA tournament bracket, but only get, you get like a...
You get like a Smoothie King gift card.
Yes.
Instead of $1 billion, you can get a T-shirt with a logo on it.
It's just that's so representative of the tour. Just penny wise, pound foolish.
All right. So in the early fall of 2014, I won a Time Warner giveaway, being a Time Warner customer. The prize was to fly down to Orlando, play around with Ian Poulter at Lake Nona. He was a Time Warner ambassador at the time, among many, many others. I don't remember this Time Warner ambassador on tour era. You spend the night and fly home. They put us up in a hotel, give us a rental car, and I could invite 3 friends. However, this was going to be right after the Ryder Cup, so they weren't quite sure what his schedule was going to be. I guess this would have been Glenn Eagle's Ryder Cup when they crushed. So they audibled and said, fly down a day early, Thursday rather than Friday. Be prepared to stay until Monday. So you're like 5 days in Orlando, just waiting for Ian Poulter to like pop his head out from that mansion with all the Ferraris and the broken roof. Wasn't that the one with the roof that like was irreparable and uninsurable or something like that? So now they want you in Central Florida for like, they don't know when he'll be ready. And we will let you know when he's ready to play, but it looks like maybe Friday. So we booked some good golf day around it, kept Friday open, then booked 36 at Crooked Cat and Panther Lake, no less. 18 at Stream Sun Red and 36 elsewhere. So we get official confirmation of the Lake Nona round. Poulter shows up. Highlights. He rolls up 1 minute before our tee time. He rolled up in a souped out, decked out cart emblazoned with the Ryder Cup logo on it, no less. He deferred to his agent for every single question we asked. So did not engage in any conversation.
You remember that movie, Eddie, where Whoopi Goldberg becomes the New York Knicks head coach?
Yes.
There's this character, Stacey Patton, and he says to Eddie, when she's the coach, he's like, you want to talk to Stacey Patton, call his agent. Like just like in the middle of practice. It reminds me of that.
So you're a Time Warner ambassador. You get this round, you're just not going to answer a question. You just defer to your agent.
So he's just hitting the shots and ignoring the guys otherwise.
Apparently, yes. Getting in his Ryder Cup souped up cart. He referred to Patrick Reed as a knob. He beat him 4-1 from the tips. Okay. Nobilo rolled up on the 16th from God knows where. Frank Nobilo? Looked worse for the wear. Okay. And then Poulter jetted off as soon as the final putt dropped, and maybe before it had dropped. So he shows up a minute early, doesn't answer a question, leaves as soon as it dropped. Last but not least, he did not offer to pay for a single thing when the cart girl kept rolling by. So I guess, should we have called him out for going frugal and being cheap, or were we expecting too much? Also, come tax time, I filed taxes, looking like I'm getting a nice refund. Get the $10.99 for what amounted to a $5K prize, and ended up paying $500. You're welcome, guys. So that's, what would you have done? Should you have expected more of this Poulter round? Would you have said something to him? Would you have asked him to pay for I don't think you can do that, for the cart, the beverage cart. What would you have done trying to engage Poulter? Didn't sound like he was down to talk.
I feel like it's extra tough too, because he's a member at Lake Nona.
Right.
And I don't think what'd they do? Just throw it on the house account for the day?
That's a good question. Maybe Time Warner had it. So yeah, you bring up a good point. For some reason I was thinking they were forgot they were
Panther
there.
National.
Ritz-Carlton.
Orange County National.
Yes. I mean, I don't know what he just won the Ryder Cup. You'd think he'd be a little happier, but how are you going to engage
I guess it's just a sponsor day. And if you can't talk to him about Ferraris or English football, he just doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's gonna go out of his way to meet you in the middle either.
No, I don't think it's like trying to bring blood from a stone. I just don't think you're gonna get very far. Have you had, without naming names, have you had any tough pro-am partners situations where it's like they're just not gonna be friendly?
No,
or
I've had
engaged?
like really good one. I mean, I'm trying to think. This year, Neil and I went out to the BMW. We're supposed to play with Sahith
Okay.
and Hoagie. We ended up Sahith had to WD from the Pro-Am, and Max Grazerman came in. And
Good.
we were both kind of bummed at the start, and by the end we were like, that was freaking awesome. Like Max could not have been cooler. So like even I find that sometimes the most under the radar guys are the standouts.
I agree.
Like I mean, I remember 5, 6, 7 years ago, DJ and I we went up to Savannah for the Corn Ferry Tour
event.
or Web Tour at the time, and we got paired with Harry Higgs on the back nine and the Wave God Willie Wilcox on the front nine. That was epic.
That's a good deal. Yeah.
I mean, Harris English at the RSM. We've had Scott Stallings. I think Solly had Cam Champ one time. I think Cam Champ might have said like all of 4 words the entire day. Yeah.
I haven't had too many bad. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, but Poulter clearly didn't want to engage. So, all right. I think that does it. You got anything else you want to get off your chest? Any takes you want to? I mean, you are the.
No, I feel like I'm going through this Cliques rebranding right now, which I kind of held on to that one before it was announced. I kind of did an Andy of like.
Oh, you knew that was coming. Okay.
Yeah, because I noticed that they had all their stuff was 25% off. Well before.
That's right.
Well before it was kind of public knowledge, and then I guess that there's plans to add one more team. There's just all sorts of smoke around Hideki. So, we'll see what happens there. But yeah. And then, also people reach out every week with Blandy stories, all sorts of Blandy stories.
Good ones, bad ones, all of
the whole thing. Blandy allegedly throwing his ball from the woods back into the fairway back when he was on the Challenge Tour.
That kind of story. Okay.
I mean, stuff about him just being just absolutely outrageous during pro-ams. Just all sorts of stuff like that.
If we get Blandy on the Champs Tour, will you come back and start supporting the brand again?
I love Blandy. He's like my favorite.
I know.
Oh,
so if he comes back to the Champs Tour, does that move the needle?
I thought you were saying the Blandy brand.
You become a Champs Tour fan.
Well, that's where I don't know if I can ever forgive the Champs Tour for what they've done to Blandy.
That's fair.
He currently holds 2 of the.
Yeah.
They have like 7 majors. He holds 2 of the. He holds the 2 that matter.
Right.
The U.S. Open and
the Senior PGA, right?
And the Senior PGA.
Yep. Harbor
They
Shores.
wouldn't let him into the Senior British. When was it? Carnoustie.
Conflict, right?
He had the tournament at JCB, but I don't think I think the PGA Tour champions and the European Tour administer that one, not the RNA. And then they wouldn't let him into the senior players at Firestone now. Yeah. And then the Regions Tradition, which that's not a major. Like
that's
the players is 10 times, like the regular players is 10 times as much of a major as that is for the seniors.
They did. Yeah. He couldn't even get in to everything this year.
Crazy.
What's the rebrand going to be?
I don't know.
I mean, Keimer, is it kind of in Keimer's image if he wants it? Is it like a German precision?
As far as I know, Keimer is a non-equity captain.
Okay.
So, which by the way, it sounds like Fratelli would be a perfect fit on the Majestics with his frugality.
Yeah.
It would fit right in with Poulter.
Yeah.
No, I think the Cliques, I guess the new Cliques general manager came from Minecraft.
The video games, right? Yes, that's what I was trying to remember what it was. Okay.
So he's a Swedish guy.
Okay.
So I don't know what they do. Samoa was a disaster this year.
He was bad.
I feel like Moronk's kind of finding form. Honestly, I think they might need to go young and trade Blandy to like the Aces or the Goats or Crushers or Smash or something like that.
Matt Wolf for Blandy, who wins? The trade is 1 for 1.
I mean, it depends on who knows how much longer Liv's going to be around too, right? Like if it's
Got another
maybe they
year.
fold LIV in with TGL or something like Blandy. Got Blandy on the simulator screen. I don't think his game translates. So like I would say get while the getting's good with Blandy. It's
You think TGL is going to happen?
Like it looks like they're building out like an actual building now.
Yeah, a real dome,
which is crazy. Do you think that was a false flag operation?
Yes.
That whole
yes,
I do too.
Of course,
100%.
That thing was like whether the dome went down or not, they weren't going to be ready to start January 13th or whatever it was. So they needed some sort of quote unquote act of God, natural disaster to cover.
Tech wasn't ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
I
totally
mean, conspiratorial. I'm not, it's pretty, it seems pretty obvious.
And in Florida, of all places,
they were not
hurricanes.
Ready. Yes. Yes. Just it was like a tent. Come on. It's like a circus tent in the backyard. Get out of here with that. All right. Bucks Falcons 24-17 at half. PJ, looks like your Mets have gone ahead 3-2.
4-2, baby.
Oh, God.
Peter Alonso. I've never said a bad thing about him ever. Not me.
4-2. I'm seeing 3-2.
You must be ahead of us.
Now it's 4-2.
Literally, as you said, the score is 3-2. Jesse Winker slides.
Are you PJ? Are you a big New York, whatever the New York team is in TGL?
Oh yeah,
Steve Cohen team.
Cam Young, baby, Mean Streets in New York, representing. Cam Young and Fitz and
Xander.
Come on, yeah,
right?
I'm ready.
Guys. Yeah. Tron, what kind of work should we look out from you in the coming days, weeks, months on No Lane Up? I know it's kind of fall. You go into hibernation. Try to store up for the next year.
Try to squirrel up some positivity and energy for the coming year. No, I think I just wrote something for our site published yesterday.
I read that. It's good.
Called Gin and Tonic.
Yeah.
And then I'm working on, I don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to write some about a preview of LIV free agency, just as like a thought exercise, kind of like what Shackelford did with the fake, the mix, the mix thing.
Yeah.
But the Gin and Tonic thing's been fun over the last few months to really get that rolling. Yeah.
I enjoy reading that.
KVV's working on a couple really, really fun, like kind of narrative pods as well right now.
Okay.
And then, more or less just in 2025 planning mode, trying to plan some big trips and really get through the next, Solly's got twins on the way in the next month or two, and DJ's out on paternity leave. So, and then Randy's getting married in about 2 months. So kind of just trying to pull down the fort a little bit.
That's crazy. That's a lot of action, right? A lot of life events going on. I remember when you guys were everybody was, single or childless and in their 20s, and essentially, and now we're all old. So
so you'll have to give them some pointers.
I don't have any pointers. I've like gotten to the point where I just like don't give a shit do whatever you want. There's no art to doing this anymore, right? I mean, whatever. It's
actually one funny thing. You'll appreciate this. A couple weekends ago, my parents were in town. It was Gustav's 4th birthday, and both our kids play flag football, like the I-9 thing.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
And so we get the schedule, and they're both on the same field at the same time. My wife's like, "Man, that's
what was the ages? 4 and 7?
4 and 7, almost 8."
Okay.
And so and Gustav's kind of big for his age, but like he was on this team last year, and then I guess the coach, like, they moved up in age group to like 1st and 2nd grade.
Yeah.
And so, Alex just was like, "Oh, like you're coaching this year? Cool, I'll put him on that team." So he's in like pre-K, he's in like 4-year-old preschool. And so
oh my God.
He's playing. So like Freddie's team's warming up. They've got Tyler Shatley, who played for the Jaguars for like 10 years as the coach. Yeah. So they're running all sorts of, like, they've got a whole game script and stuff. They're running all sorts of stuff in their pregame. Meanwhile, Gustav's team's over on the side, just, and I'm like, yo, so they're playing each other? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, they're playing each other. Like, like we're both on this field. Did you sign up for the wrong team? So sure enough, Gustav gets a handoff. He starts running the wrong way. and then he loops back and does like an end around.
Yeah.
And he runs for like 40 yards and almost scores a touchdown.
Oh
Dudes were like running into each other behind him, all that stuff. And the rest of the weekend, he's just talking shit to Freddie. It was awesome.
That's good.
So I think we're just going to keep him on the team because he seems to like it.
Yeah, so. He broke one off. He could just stay with. He'll have that forever.
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah, Dad, I broke that guy's ankles. and then he did the gritty.
So. Of course, they all do. They all do the gritty. Oh my God. All right. Love it. All right, Tron, thank you so much for follow you on Twitter. Obviously, longtime friend of Andy and mine, longtime friend of the program. Welcome anytime. We'll have to collaborate or hang out a little bit more down
would love
in the
to.
Future. So
regular listener. So.
Yeah, no, of course, as we are of NLU and Trap Draw. So thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.